I have on my calendar, Become Your Better Self. Really, you want to fill in better with something specific about what you want to get better. For me, it's my sober self. It's my sober self. I was born an alcoholic. My mom drank throughout the pregnancy with me. My mom had been drinking since her early teens, and her abusive father, he was an alcoholic and died from it, and she did too. And I didn't want to die from alcohol. So for, 15, 20 years, I've been trying to quit. After now a year and 8 months of being sober, I realized that over the years, what I actually was doing to become a sober person was coming up with ways to become my sober self. You know, I tried AA. I did AA with my mom as a child. And I did AA, by myself, and it didn't work for me because it was really focused on my deficits. It was really focused on, you're going to be an alcoholic till you die. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't cure it. The best you can do is manage it. And so just hang out with a bunch of people who also are alcoholics and hang out in environments that don't have alcohol and talk about how shitty you are as an alcoholic. And I don't naturally approach life that way. I focus on my potential. I focus on what I want to become, what I can do, what I can achieve. And I needed to find a way that worked for me. And becoming my sober self really has become the way that works for me. And I hope it can work for you. It can be your sober self. It can be your healthier self, your mentally healthier self. Whatever you want that self to be, you can become. But I think it starts with, and I have the calendar out still, realizing that whatever you want to become is developmental. It's not set a goal, achieve a goal. And if you fail enough times, give up on trying to become that. In fact, it's the opposite of what I think people think, which is you have to set more and more goals after more and more failures. Because what's happening in your mind is you are learning gradually how to become the thing you want to become. The goals are just a way for you to model that in the short term. And in all likelihood, you're going to fail. But what is failure? To achieve a goal. It's one way of looking at it. How I look at it is when I set a goal and I fail, what did I move toward? How did I progress? What can I glean from that period, a day, 2 days, doing what it is that I set that goal to do? And then how can I replicate it? Becoming attentive to that side of setting a goal and not achieving a goal. The potential of it. How did I reach more potential? And if I fail 5 times, 10 times, 50 times, does that mean I should give up? No. Because if I give up, how the hell am I going to succeed? So what I've realized is, your orientation, that's my cats, toward your future self that you want to become is more important than the achievement of a goal. And ultimately this taught me that it's not about achieving goals. It's about developing. And goals are a great way to develop toward what you want to become. And with drinking, 10, 15 years of trying. I mean, I signed up for track and field in my 20s to try to quit, to look for ways to become sober. And the whole way along, wanted to give up on myself, wanted to stop trying, because I just thought, well, you can't do it. But now that I have a year and 8 months under me, what I realize is I needed to become a sober person, not just be a sober person, but become. So these counting days, and then having to reset back to zero. Same thing with a diet. Same thing with losing weight. This emphasis on I'm going to count, and then if I fail, then I have to start over. Doesn't take my mind into consideration. Doesn't take human development into consideration. The better way is to count. Go ahead. I counted. Always was counting how many days I was sober, but when failing, would look back and say, what can I do now that I haven't tried to get sober? Not, I have to start back over from zero and count back up. It's just too mathematical rather than developmental. It's too simple. We're not simple. We're complex. And it felt a lot better not to be so hard on myself every time I failed. Instead of saying, oh my gosh, what's wrong with me? Even though I did think that I would never quit, and that felt defeating, I would say, but you can try again, can't you? Yes, okay, well then you haven't failed completely because you can try again. And the goal that actually worked, which wasn't, now that I look back on it, like the reason it worked, it was the summation of all the goals, all the attempts. But the one that worked was saying that I can't drink until I can pay my bills with my new business. And for whatever reason, one day turned into two into three, and then a week, and then 2 weeks, and then I was at 3-4 weeks, which was more than I had ever been able to achieve since my teens, and then a month, then 2-3, and then a meltdown in my mind of like feeling that I had wasted so many years of my life, and crying about it, and feeling though a release in that feeling of regret, of guilt, of shame, of disappointment, but also a relief, like a pressure coming off of me, and feeling as though I was starting to become sober and be able to look at my past non-sober self and really make an honest comparison, really see how I was versus how I was becoming. And I think anyone and everyone can do this. This isn't something that requires a therapist. This isn't something that requires a best friend. This isn't something that requires a higher faith. This is something that requires you to look inside of you and to say, what do I want to become? How do I want to get better? And not to look at your process of change as needing to happen now or in the short term, but looking at your process of change as something that is going to happen over time, something that is developmental. And finding goals that you can set for yourself to start moving in that direction. And staying focused on the potential and the progress, not the deficit, not the disease, not the failures. And continuing to push through those moments when you feel that you can't do it because you haven't done it. So it is natural to feel that, but realizing that there has to be a way, there must be a way, because if I can think I want to become that, if I can visualize myself like that, then surely I can do it. And I'm living proof of it. So think about what it is you want to become and get started developing toward that vision of your future self.